What is up, my dudes? We're back at it again with another video. I know in the last video I said next video would probably be on the hatch, and it is coming. We got a few things to do for that. Clean it up, get the harness on, and you know, get everything ready for that first start. But we're not gonna be working on that today. Today we are going to be working on my buddy's NA Miata. So this is a 1994 Mazda Miata. It's a 1.8. Previously my buddy did wrap it, and then the car sat for a while, which is why it looks bad, but it drives pretty well. We did a head replacement on this a couple videos back in between shops, right before I didn't have this shop, and we finished it up here. And the car's been running great. No head gasket issues, no valve tap issues. You know, it's been running really good for him. And he wants to start trying to drift the car. So in the next month or two, we're gonna be doing a lot of things to this car to get it ready for that. One of those things in this video, he did have a small leak from the radiator, which I told him whenever we replaced the head. So he bought a new radiator, and if you know anything about Miatas, they have cooling issues because these engines in this car are a front-wheel drive motor shoehorned into a rear-wheel drive car. So what people do is they get a reroute kit, which reroutes the coolant to allow for better cooling from the head to the block. So in this video today, we're going to be changing the radiator and adding the coolant reroute kit. He did grab a Mishimoto performance radiator. I think it's a dual core. I'll pull that out for you guys though. And the coolant reroute kit. We also are gonna, not in this video, but to this car, we are going to be adding a resonator and changing the muffler. So this car has some eBay exhaust. It's fairly big and fairly droney. As you can see, a 4-inch tip, so it's kind of loud. We'll address that in another video, but we do have a vibrant resonator and muffler for this car to quiet it down and take away the drone. So with that being said, let's get started. I'm gonna get this thing in the air. We're gonna start draining the coolant, pull the rad, all the good stuff. Car is really low, so it's hard for me to get the jack under there. Gotta go to desperate measures. Pain in the ass. I hate when cars are this low, man. It's just so, makes no sense. All right, so car's in the air now. Like I said, when we do the exhaust, we're gonna be changing out the header as well. It does not have a cat, so you know, it's white album. So we're gonna be changing out the header and the exhaust, but we're gonna get this radiator out, get this coolant drained, get the reroute kit in, and yeah, get this thing all spicy. Okay, got the coolant draining. While the coolant's draining, we gotta take a few things off to get this radiator out. So first thing we gotta do is unplug the MAF, take off the intake, and there's like, I think, one vacuum line that goes to the idle air control valve. Or this line right here, pull that off, and then we'll just have to unplug the fans. There's 2 bolts here, one on this side, and then the radiator comes right up out. So I'm gonna wait for this to drain, undo the hoses, take off the intake, and pull this radiator out. Okay, so the rad is out. Everything looks pretty good. There's a lot of space up here, to be honest. Well, I guess I'm just not used to rear-wheel drive things. He's also had a belt squeak issue, which I think is this belt, because we replaced the water pump belt when we did the head swap. We are going to have to replace this, but I'm going to look into how this coolant reroute goes, because I think that hose now goes up to the top and then that hose goes down to the bottom. I'm not sure, but I'm going to quick open this radiator, see what it looks like, show you guys real quick, and then we might have to move the fans over. I don't know if that comes with fans or if we're supposed to just swap these over, but let's move that. Let's open this real quick, see what it looks like. This thing's beautiful. Beautiful, doc. Fucking beautiful. Got some stickers. Oh, an air freshener. That's pretty dope. Mishimoto, doc. That's clean, bro. I like that. So I think everything here is OEM fitment. So the fans should bolt up. Only thing we have to move over is the there's little like round bushing pieces that go into here that fit down into like clamp style things on the car. So we'll have to move those over and we should be good, man. This looks good. All right, quick, I'm gonna get everything moved over from this rad to that rad. These pieces have C-clips on the back side, so we'll just pop the C-clip, pull this out, and put it on the new one, put the new C-clip on, and then these bushings have to just come out, plop in there, and fans on, and we're golden. Okay, so these things came out a lot easier than expected because the rubber bushing separates from the washer that's in it. So you just push the washer out one side and then pull the bushing out. And then these have C-clips, this style clip. Just push it off to one end and pull this out. Move these over to the new rad, get the fans on, and then she's ready to go in. But before we do that, we're gonna have to figure out or read the instructions for the reroute kit so that we can get that on there and get it all ready to go. Fans are on, all mounting brackets are on. Looking pretty good, dude. Pretty good. All right, now we have to figure out this coolant reroute kit. I've never installed one of these, so I'm not actually sure how the routing is supposed to go. So I gotta look into it real quick and then we'll catch back up. Okay, I did not expect this coolant reroute kit to be as intricate as and extensive as it is, but it actually is pretty extensive, I guess. So what we have to do, basically what I'm reading from the instructions, is we have to remove the coil pack and bolts for the camshaft position sensor, because the coolant reroute puts a plate on the back side and points the coolant, the radiator hose over this way, I believe, which is this piece. So what we also have to do is install a brand new EGR tube, because it changes, I think this allows for different routing so it doesn't run into the hose. I think we may actually have to get an EGR block off, because the new header that we're going to be getting, I don't believe has EGR on it at all. So I got to talk to Ian real quick and see what he wants to do there, because I think with the new header it doesn't even have an EGR at all. So we're going to probably just need a block off plate. So we kind of, maybe we should have thought about it beforehand. I didn't really know that this was that extensive or that it would need that. So probably should have got a block off plate earlier, but. All right, so I'm gonna get cracking on this. A couple things it says to do is to remove the vacuum line and the metal tab, or the nut for the metal vacuum line for the booster. Gotta remove that. We have to remove the EGR tube. We have to remove the coil pack up and out. We have to remove the rear housing assembly, and remove everything over to this piece. And this piece will then bolt to that piece with the thermostat on it. This is actually a block off plate, which we will pull off this housing and put the block off plate there. That means this won't be used any longer. That's what the Coolant Reroute kit does. It takes the coolant from the back of the engine, puts it to the radiator instead of this one, because it doesn't cool correctly, I assume. So this will be blocked off, and then the new thermostat housing will be on the back of the engine with the coolant temp sensor and the heater core sensor. So I'm gonna get cracking on this, and I'll give you guys a little wrap up, and check in every once in a while and show you guys what's done and what needs to be done for this to work. All right, so we got the harness disconnected from the coil packs. We unbolt the coil packs, lift them up out of the way, and move the harness out. What we have to do in the back here, which I've already done, is there's a heater core housing on the back side here that feeds the heater core. It's right here. You remove that housing and you undo the hose, the heater core hose from that housing as well. And then you got to clean up the gasket material off of that. And then same thing as well up here. You have to clean the gasket material off of this one. And then also there's a stud in this one and the back one. I just did the double nut trick, as it does say in the instructions, and pulled the studs right out. Now I think is the assembly portion. Everything's gonna go back on, and we should be good, honestly. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cracking on this, and I'll fill you guys in on what's being done. Okay, now assembling this new thermostat housing that goes on the rear of the motor. This is how they say to do it. So this barb will go to the heater core then. These threads lock into the housing, so that you don't need any tape. Same with these. This is for an aftermarket temperature sensor if you're running one with like Megasquirt or something. And they say to leave the temperature sensor loose so you can bleed out the air in the cooling system. And these gaskets are like a sticky type gasket, so you peel it off, stick it onto the housing, but first you put the thermostat in, making sure the bleeder is up top, closer to the temperature sensor. And then once you have the thermostat in, you put this sticky gasket on, and it kind of holds the thermostat in place. And you do the same thing with the rear side gasket there, and then this will sit like this in the car, like that, and then this will face towards the driver's side, which is like, it's gonna face towards like this, so come this way off the back of the motor. So yeah, this is how this is set up. It's pretty interesting, pretty simple. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing together and get this on the motor. We can see what it looks like when it's all together. They also say that if your socket doesn't fit, you can grind down some of this housing so that you can get the socket on top. I'm just gonna use a 19mm wrench and get it snug. Also, another thing I wanted to show you is that block off plate. The gasket was the same way, but I trimmed the edge so it wasn't sticking out over top. But it looks pretty good. It looks very, very nice. These bolts get torqued to 16 foot-pounds, and also these bolts get torqued to 16 foot-pounds. Now the only issue, I just tried to fit it up, and the only issue I'm having is I think this is the clutch cable. I think this is a cable clutch transmission, but this is in the way, like a lot in the way. So I'm gonna try and push it down some to get it out of the way, and then see if I can get this housing and stuff on. All right, so we got the plate installed. I just got this bitch tightened, and as you can see, there's not a lot of fucking space. Like, who designed this? But this is the slave line, the clutch line, and it's like it's right in front of the fucking housing. But this does have a bend on it, so I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like that. That'll come up right along this way, underneath the throttle cable, and then up into the radiator. So I'm gonna get this on there real quick, and we'll catch back up, because I still have to change this belt, and I want to change that before I put the radiator back in. All right, so this kit said it came with a pipe clamp, which would be going back here, because these factory clamps don't fit over this, and there's nothing in the kit. So Cobalt, what are you doing, buddy? Yeah, there's nothing here to clamp it down with, so I either have to grab some or try and get these stock clamps to work, but I don't think they're gonna work. They're too small. All right, so we have the hose on. I found a clamp for the backside. They come with these clamps here, and they tell you where to mount them. I'm just trying to make sure this is like kind of lower than the head. If not, it's gonna be hard to bleed. And then once we get the radiator in, this is cut to fit, so it might be a little bit long. I'm gonna test fit the radiator in and see where about it's gonna fit. That way I can cut this down, hook it up, and then fill it with coolant before I put everything back together here, because they use that coolant temp sensor to bleed the air out of it somehow. As soon as I see coolant come out of there, I'm gonna tighten it up, and then we can move along and keep filling it with coolant. I also have to modify the EGR. So it did come with a brand new EGR tube, but since the header we're gonna be using for the exhaust doesn't have an EGR tube set up, what I'm gonna do is cut off this flange, weld it together so that it is closed off. It'll be like a block off plate. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with this nut. I'm gonna cut this, weld it so that this is welded closed, and then put this back on the header right now so that we can start it and it won't leak out of the EGR tube thing right there. I'm actually gonna do this real quick, and then we can get to putting the radiator in. So I got the, I did the EGR thing, so I cut the end of the tube off on both sides. I welded this, so this nut will go in the exhaust, and this will block off the intake port for the EGR. Now we don't have to worry about it. When we do put the aftermarket header on, we don't have to take that pipe off. It's already off. So this will go on with the gasket, seal the intake. This will stay on the OEM header for now, and then once the new one comes, we don't even have to worry about that. So I'm gonna get that on real quick. Drop the radiator in, see what it looks like, watch cut for our fitment, and then we can start filling in the coolant. Sheesh. This thing looks good, man. Now, I must say this Cobalt kit, for whatever reason, didn't come with all the parts. I had to find a clamp for the back, and I had to find a clamp for this one because the regular like spring stock clamps would not work. So that is hooked up. The radiator is in. It's sturdy. Only thing I can say is the bottom of it is kind of like, instead of it being straight up and down, it kind of like tilts forward a little. It's just a little weird. Just a tiny bit, not too much, just enough to make it like kind of close back here. The power steering pump hose was actually touching the fan blade, so I had to just push that outside of the fan shroud, and we're golden. So I'm gonna fill this thing up with coolant, watch for it to bleed back here, tighten that sensor down, and then we should be golden to put everything back together, start bleeding this thing. And I also replaced the water pump alternator belt because it was having a squeal on startup. I got the block off plate for the EGR on the exhaust and on the intake on. And yeah, so I'm gonna start putting some coolant in this, wait for it to bleed out, and we will catch back up. All right, so everything is back together. I have everything plugged in. I have all the coil packs back in place. O2's plugged in. The only thing that's not tight is the distributor, or the cam sync, whatever you want to call it for this setup. I have to look up how to set the ignition timing. I marked it, and I think it's back where it's supposed to be, but I'm gonna look into how to set the ignition timing. But right now I'm gonna start it, make sure there is no leaks, and feed in some water that I have. I filled it with coolant, so I just gotta make sure that it's, you know, not leaking and full of liquid. Okay, that made a mess. But I'm about to set the ignition timing. Now, how you do this on this Miata 94 is you got to jump in here. It says TEN at the top. That plug and ground over to the left, which would be the second one in from the right here, and then all the way over. You jump those, that puts it in diagnostic mode, and then it locks the timing so that you can set the ignition timing down through that gap there. So I'm gonna do this real quick, and then I'm gonna wait for it to cool down. Take the cap off, add some more coolant, and there's no leaks, so that's good. But when I did start it, it was idling high, so I think we just had to reset the ignition timing. I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we can get it on the ground. Maybe take it for a drive. All right, my dudes, let's take it for a spin. I did cap off or top off the coolant. I have a mess to clean up, but like I said, I did top off the coolant, so we should be good. And hopefully y'all can see. I reset the ignition timing. It idles a lot better. It was idling a little bit high previously, like before I even got the car. Throttle feels a little bit better too, so that's good. I just scraped a little bit. This thing is so fucking low. Be right back. It idles a lot better, smoother and a little bit lower. I think it previously was idling at like 1500, but I digress. Let's go for a spin. This thing is very low, so coming in and out of the compound is like a little bit of a challenge just because the fucking front bumper goes whoop. This is the difficult part. Ready? Oh. You can kind of hear the drone at like 3,000. That's that big ass 4-inch tip muffler, cuss. care of that when we do the exhaust stuff on this. It just, his girlfriend drives this car too, surprisingly, and she loves it, but the exhaust being this loud, you know, you're ready for some headaches. So it feels smoother. When we did the head swap, I didn't set the ignition timing because I didn't even know how, to be honest. But now that I know how, I know I should have done it, and I think that's why we had a high idle. But this car is just, it's so like driver friendly. It just like, you just want to, it feels comfortable. Like, crisp. I mean, I can't say it feels any different than it used to because I don't drive the car every day, but I know it does feel fairly smooth right now. Just got to keep my eye on the coolant temperature, make sure everything's working as it should. You know what I'm saying? We'll give it the beans in a little bit. These roads a lot when I was younger, man. Oh shit. Damn, that fucking drone. Holy shit. I'll bust a Yui. I think this thing might need wheel bearings. Feels like a Miata. It's 1,000 times faster than the inside. Oh, my inside is so fucking slow, bro. This thing feels like a rocket ship compared to that. I missed my fucking CRX! Big updates on that coming soon, guys. Stay prepared. Get ready to get your mind blown. God damn. Heel toe in this car is so easy. It's fucking beautiful, bro. And my CRX is the same way, but like, holy shit. This car is going to sound so much cleaner and so much better. Like I said, we got a vibrant resonator and a vibrant flat black muffler to put on here. The only thing I'm going to have to do to the muffler is extend the tip, and then she's going to be golden. Remember I said this is painful? It's usually worse than that, but sheesh. I'm not scraping on much, it's just the front lip, and if I crest a large like fucking hill or something, like when I'm going into the shop, it'll scrape. And I think right here it'll scrape too. Yeah. So it is smoking a little bit. I think it's the coolant burning off the radiator that was spilled. But I'm gonna check just to make sure it's not leaking. Beautiful, doc. So yeah, I think the smoke is just the coolant burning off of the radiator. I did spray it down with air, and I thought I got it all off, but I guess not. But it's running really good. It's running how it's supposed to. I believe in the hotter temps is where you'll see the benefit of the Coolant Reroute, just because this is supposed to help with heat soak. Further down the road, we will be boosting this car, but for the next probably 2 or 3 summers, it's going to be NA. So I'm probably going to try and make an intake for him, because this thing sits over here near the header, which sucks in hot air. So I'm going to try and make him something that will possibly bring in cooler air. He wants to slide it. We got to do the rear brakes, the exhaust. We're going to put in a new header. And also he's picking up drift knuckles and an LSD. So we're going to have to install those too. But yeah, guys, this one's finished. Getting this thing out the door. He's going to have fun with it. You will see in the next few weeks an exhaust video on this. But I think most likely the next video will be Carlos's car, getting everything together for that. We still got to get the harness on, shit like that. I know I said it would be the next video, but it's coming, guys. Also, I'm going to be unveiling some plans for the CRX. Everything's a mess here, but I got some big plans for it. Not really anything that's going to like fucking make like 1,000 horsepower, but something different. Most people don't do, and when they do it, I mean, it is pretty good. So, yeah, I'll let you guys know about that in the next couple months. Stay tuned. But that's all for this one, guys. Hope to catch you on the next one. We got some things going on, man. You know what I'm saying? We got the hatch getting almost ready. We just got this thing finished. This is another Vitara build that we're gonna have together going soon. We got to take everything out to get to the machine shop. We got to get some parts lined up. We do have a manifold and rods and pistons, so we just got to get everything together for that. We'll start slapping that thing together. Get another fucking turbo build in here. So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope to catch you on the next one. Deuces.